So there we go. We've got lasting allowance, we've got folding allowance, we've got stitching allowance, both at the back and the medial seam. So there you go, something along those lines. Now, we'll take these off, masking tape patterns, and we'll keep those. Those will be for reference later on. Okay, so that's what's left. See if you can see that. Now, for reference purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out some notches so we can draw some lines later on. Help things line up. Okay, so that's good. Now your next step is to take these two pieces and tape them together. Because now we're going to make the lining pattern. No, that's not right. I'll do it this way. Okay. So, grab another piece of cardboard. And the upper pattern, or the lining pattern, is very simple. Just tack it in place. And trace the outline. Whoopsie. Oh, that'll be fine. Trace the inside. Put your little markers. Come back here. Trace this. So now, the inside pattern for your lining is just going to be this portion plus the counter portion. Now for the counter, we're going to take these two back pieces and make a separate piece. And the front part is just going to be just this line here. Okay, I think we've traced everything. There we go. So take this off. And you'll kind of see what I'm doing here as we go. It's kind of hard to explain. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Make sure I mark that line. Mark this line here. Now we will not need any allowance here. We're going to be just fine. The allowance will be on the counter portion. Okay, we're going to resume doing the lining pattern. So when we were tracing that out, I neglected to mention that we got to mark the center line. Always helpful. Keep that center line. And in this case, it's going to serve the purpose of a fold. So you'll notice here, this on the upper we have the 5mm overlap, or folding allowance. So that folding allowance will actually be our allowance for our lining. So when we cut this out, the lining will have a 5mm edge that will be above the top line of the shoe, and we'll have something to trim after the shoe is done. Okay. And I'll fold this over. Corresponding edge on the other side. And I didn't leave quite enough, but that's okay. Missed that little corner. We'll fill that in when we're tracing it. Now, so that's the front part of the lining. We'll call it the vamp lining. Okay, so now for the counter lining, this is where we're going to do the folding method. Something a little more traditional. I'm taking the masking tape pieces, and I've attached them. Lined up the top corner, that's your key. That's the key corner. And then just attach them along the line. So you come up to here and line up as much as you can. And we'll trace down, and trace down. Now I don't know if you can tell from there, but it's a little bit different. For example, the medial aspect is significantly thicker than the lateral, but we're going to use the lateral. So I could have a little bit more than not enough. And then we'll go like this. And ensure that we have enough lasting allowance. Okay, and we just mark on the back counter the lines where it ends. On the front vamp aspect, draw that line. And we're going to add 5 mil. In fact, 1 centimeter. For overlap. And we'll cut it out. Have to press fairly hard as we're cutting through 2. Okay. And we can take a little nick out of the bottom. So that's your lining pattern, and the counter will lay under the lining, or the front vamp. So actually go this way. This will be your lining. And that'll be the counter. Line up thusly. And we'll open up something like that. So you can see on the inside of the shoe, it'll be like that. This will be the edge on the inside of the shoe, and so the counter will be laid into the shoe first, hung first, and then this will just come up as far as it needs, so you don't have to worry about trying to make it fit. Okay, so we've got our original masking tape pattern. That we drew right on the last. Got our upper pattern. Thus, with allowances for folding and for lasting. And then we've also made a pattern for our vamp lining and our counter lining.